Hi everyone, thank you very much for joining us again here for Prolific People and part two with Emma Fielding. If you missed part one, then here is what happened.
I started in property a couple of years ago. I only started with 20 grand. I now work with investors, mainly high net worth individuals. On my second year of trading, I'm on track for just over £1 million in turnover. The minute I walk into a property, I just see how it should be, or which walls we need to knock down, or any extensions we need to build to make it work. So I think I've eliminated a lot of risks by actually getting hands on and know what goes on.
So there we go, part one. It was a great episode, and very happy to have you back with us, Emma, for part two. Let's get straight into it. And talk about how you grow your business. Now talked about how you started your business, but now it's about growth, preservation. How do you go about doing that, raising the capital, working with partners, and how does it look in the future?
Yeah, so for me, Tom, my kind of preferred way of finance is working with angel investors, mainly kind of high net worth individuals. And yeah, basically scaling my business with them and raising more funds with them as more properties are available. And that has basically given me the stepping stone to build and scale up in terms of how many renovations that we do a year.
And doing a lot of renovations and turning over a lot of cash. But something you don't like to talk about is the profit generated, and I can completely understand that. But do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so I'm obviously I'm happy to say what our kind of purchase price is, what our sold price, but kind of the bits in the middle and the profit I don't tend to kind of publicize, let's say. I am very much a working class girl from a working class background in Barnsley. And I think, it's quite nice actually just to keep that little bit of information under wraps, because I think, also I have quite a few buyers on my social media that want to view the properties. And I think if I was a buyer and if I knew the profit in a particular deal, would I go view that property? Probably not. So I like to keep that a little bit under wraps, and I think it's sensible. So
I agree with that, because if they see that, just for numbers' sake, for example, you're going to make £30,000 profit on a deal, well, they go, oh well, she doesn't need that 30,000. Maybe we can get 15 grand off here, and at least she still made a bit of a profit. But that's not how you run a business, and that's not how you grow. Another very interesting thing about you, Emma, is you last year you were on a Sky TV show, the Property Graduate. Before we get into discussions about that, though, let's look at a few clips of that show.
The competitors have to make it through a three-part process. That's the interviews, the challenge, and the deal.
And good luck to everybody.
Yeah, good luck. The winner is among you.
How did it feel going on the Sky show and being on TV and just being immersed in this property show for the first time?
Yeah, it was pretty nerve-wracking actually. So basically the filming was in St Albans, so down south. So I was traveling down there quite a few weekends last year. And it all happened really, really quickly. I met some fantastic people that we're actually still in contact now. We all have a WhatsApp group, and we still regularly see each other as well. And I really felt like I was in such a good space with, everybody that was there, and, the days that we were filming, and even the judges as well, Fiona, Helen and John, had some really great conversations with them, especially as the competition went on. I was actually staying over at the place that we were filming, so I caught up with them the evenings and the nights after the filming, and I just learned so much from them all. And I think I really enjoy pushing myself out of my comfort zone, and being on TV, being in front of cameras isn't what I do day to day, but I love pushing myself and being in that space where I'm really nervous, I'm really anxious, and the pressure's on. I love that. I thrive in that environment, and I definitely didn't think I would get to the final three, and obviously being the only woman as well in the final three, I thought I was doing it for all the women that are in property, and I was really happy to be there, to be honest.
Yeah, so it's a great aspect there of not only being on the Sky TV show and having that experience, but also the social aspect to it and the evenings that you had with the whole team being on the show.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
guess you've built relationships for life then. But
Yeah.
tell us about the what was it, 3 parts in total, and the different
It was,
challenges?
Tom. Yeah, it was. So basically, it's styled a bit like The Apprentice, to be honest. So each round, people are knocked out, and obviously you have tasks to do. The first round was basically getting to know you round, and actually you were explaining what you're currently doing in property, and the progress that you were making and your plans for the future. And yeah, that went well. And then the second round, they had to give you a deal to analyze, but you only had 60 minutes to do it. Bearing in mind, this deal could have been any part of the country, it could have been commercial, residential, it could have been anything. And I got something that was down in Essex, a commercial building. It was at auction and this, that, and the other. And I actually phoned up the auction company to get some more details about the property. And I think I was probably the only person to do that. But again, I was allowed to do that, so I did it.
Yeah,
So that was a little bit tricky because obviously you're under kind of time constraints, and when I'm analysing deals, I like to spend a lot of time with the nitty-gritty parts. But overall, that didn't go too badly. And then I was in the final three with the other two guys, and we had to present a deal to John, Fiona, and Helen. And actually, I didn't think I would make the final three, so my deal was really rushed and put together very, very last minute. And looking back at it, it was an average deal. It probably wouldn't be something that I would do, but it was okay. But the other guys, were really wanted to get into kind of the new build side of things, where I was kind of a little bit more happy to flip for 1 or 2 more years. But again, just to have that experience and that exposure, and actually seeing what they look at when they're presented with a deal to potentially invest in, that knowledge was second to none, to be quite honest. And yeah, still that little bit I take now when I'm presenting deals to investors.
Yeah, it's great learning curve. But yeah, as you say, your deal that you presented to them on the last three. Well, I won't say much about it. Just let's look at this clip and see their feedback on that.
In this episode, the final 3 contestants have been asked by John to present a potential property deal that is live and available to purchase to invest in.
But to do with the owners, so the current owners have actually owned it since December 2013.
With all due respect, who cares? Emma, it's been up for sale for 1.5 years, 2 years. It's obviously
It was overpriced.
Way
yeah,
overpriced.
800, absolutely.
And she's ambitious, and I like that. And I think she's fairly ruthless, and I quite like that as well. I quite like that.
So there we go. It's not that they didn't like it or they liked it. They just I think the other guys presented a stronger deal, as you say. Your deal was slightly rushed, but I mean to get there to the last three. And what was the prize in the end for the winner?
So the prize was definitely a very good prize. So it was a joint venture partnership with John Howard. And basically he takes all the risks, and the funding is up to $1 million. So yeah,
if I'd have had that opportunity, I'd have just picked the biggest deal in my pipeline and said, "Can you fund this, please?" Well, that's great. I mean, fair play to you for getting that far and putting yourself in that position, and getting on the show. Yeah. So well done. Yeah. Let's quickly talk about the future. What the future looks like for Emma. You have told me about an award that you're up for. Do you want to explain?
Yeah. So I'm up for Young Property Investor of the Year. And that is with the Property Investors Award. So that is in December. Really looking forward to that. And I've got quite a bit of filming to do for that in relation to that. award. So yeah, that's exciting. But in terms of the future, I'm now working with a brand new high net worth individual. Again, he's actually in property, so that's a kind of a nice mix. And yeah, we're developing bigger, larger projects. We're doing more of them. We're scaling up the business. I've got quite large plans for the year ahead. But ultimately, my kind of end goal is kind of luxury new builds, and I want to be doing that in the next kind of 3 to 5 years. So
yeah, it's great that you've put yourself in this position. You've taken that step from going from the corporate world to slowly and gradually doing a few flips, earning a bit of profit, and now a few years later, you're in that position. And I can't imagine where you're going to be in 5 to 10 years if you just keep progressing like that. Then bigger things are going to come. So, I mean, where you are now is fantastic, and I'm sure a lot of people will be envious. And people out there watching this, I want to emphasize that you can get to where Emma has got.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
Today and even further. You just have to put your mind to it and take action. But Emma, thank you very much for joining us on the show. I've really appreciated your time. I'm sure our viewers have got a lot of value out of it. What we'll do, everyone watching, we'll put some links in the descriptions if you want to follow Emma on social media and follow what she's up to and how she progresses. If you want to contact her, Emma's going to give us a few links of where you can do that. And finally, appreciate you for watching, appreciate you for being a subscriber, and we will see you again next time.